Now let's look at icebreakers, team building, and energizers that usually are part of our retreat. Okay? Now, you gotta be careful. Icebreakers, team builders, and energizers can help or backfire. Okay? So you do have to be able to say, okay, let's stop this, it's not gonna work. Now most of them are either for fun or educational. I've actually had teams saying, we do an icebreaker like, well, how does this relate with the retreat? What does this have to do with this? Okay? Because there's different, people think differently. Literally, some people hate them, and some people love them. I have teams that say, I know one time we were doing a bunch of minute to win it activities, and most of the teams, because most people love them, most of the teams like, oh, you know, we loved it, this is so exciting. When they follow you, we have something different, and they're like, well, you know, last time we liked them more because they were more energizers, they were more icebreakers, okay? Because they were used to, that's what they liked, okay? So, but be careful. Again, some like and some don't. Now, we are going to go through some do's and don'ts, but it just depends on the group. This is just examples. Don't say, oh, don't do this or don't do that, okay? I'm going to give you some do's and don'ts, but they're general. Don't take them to the word, okay? There's just some ideas that work in one place or another. Now, this one is very important. This one's a real don't. Do not force people to participate in your icebreakers game, okay? Now, even if it's an educational, don't force. You don't force people. Sometimes you can, there's different reasons why some people don't want to participate. So that's one of the main things. Do not make people touch one another. Why? Safety environment policies. Okay? And that's a real don't. Now, don't make people share anything too personal. You're an icebreaker time. Okay? If they want to share something personal, think about the listening skills that we have talked about. They will call you to the side. But not in an icebreaker or one of these, you know, that we're trying to do real quick. Don't make people make up a silly motions. You know, let's all act like a cow, okay, or a pig, you know. Now, can you still do stuff like that? Yes, but you have to know your group. You know, if you're like in a confirmation that you've been with them all year long, you know who they, you know your teams, you know what they like, what they don't, but you still don't force them to do it. If you're doing a dinner retreat or a retreat where other parishes come together, you know those teams. So be careful. Don't take too long. For example, if you have 50 people, for example, the M&M game, okay? It says grab as many M&Ms as you want. And let's say someone grabs 38 M&Ms. And then you say, okay, the game is for every M&M that you grab, tell me something about yourself. What? That's 38 things I have to tell you about myself. Okay, just because I love M&Ms. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, don't make anyone throw or catch anything. You have to realize that just because some people are in basketball and football, some people really can't catch. Now, but can you still do something like that and say, don't worry if you can't catch or you miss it. Make it a part of the game. Have fun. Yeah, but when you force somebody to, it's a game that you have to catch in order to win or whatever, or lose or whatever. Be careful, okay? Now, do ask simple questions. What's your favorite color? You know, it's a simple question. Something that people are comfortable, you know, that there's no wrong answer because it's you. Do have people talk one-on-one, okay? In an icebreaker, it's one-on-one, you know. There's ways to do it. Do split people into groups, you know, 2 or 3 or 4, you know, some games can do it and some games you cannot, but you know, that's a good deal. Do introduce elements of friendly competition. Now, friendly competition, not like, you know, if you win, wow, no, you know, like very competitive, you don't want to do that. Realize that we're all different, okay? We are different people. If you have a competition of football, well, come on. You know, I was not one of those football players, okay? But you can have friendly competitions. Do ask people to share one thing that they learn about someone else. Now, in a very polite way, okay? Understand that. Now, let's go to the icebreakers. An icebreaker helps to clear the way for learning to occur by making the learner more comfortable and encouraging conversation. It's comfortable and encouraging. Okay? Specifically, an icebreaker is an activity designed to help people to get to know each other and usually involves sharing names and other background information. Depending on your retreat, it depends on your icebreakers. Some people, I encourage the young people even to do an icebreaker before their talks, to break the ice in a sense. Icebreaker, break the ice. To get to know them, okay? Even in the small groups, you can do a very, very fast, short icebreaker. You can do them everywhere, depending on your retreat. Now, do not go overboard with icebreakers, okay? That's something that you might not want to do. They facilitate introduction, introduce a topic, review and apply learning concepts, okay? Especially if it's an icebreaker that's educational. Now, can you have this? You can do a whole retreat, and it's all about icebreakers, okay? And that's not good. That's not the purpose of a retreat. So be careful, not just to, that's a bad idea just to have a whole bunch of icebreakers. The young people like them, okay? And they do. Most people like to have fun. Icebreakers is a fun time, okay? But that's not the purpose, okay? You can go to a whole retreat and look at that business, talking about Jesus, and then the rest is icebreakers. Come on, okay? So be careful. Now, team building activities. This is for like a retreat that you have leadership development, because you can have a retreat for leaders, even adult leaders. I've done icebreakers for adults, and at first you think, those don't want to do this. Well, youth ministers do. I mean, I have done it at national conferences with directors, all directors, okay, and they're fun because you get excited. It's a fun building activity, and especially if it's your leadership team, that's what you want to do. Can you do team building activities with a group that, let's say, like a dinner retreat? No, that's kind of hard because you don't know who's coming from the area to that retreat. You don't know their gifts and talents. But can you do it with your confirmation retreat team or your confirmation? Yes, you already spent 1 year at least, or maybe 2 years with that group of teenagers. And you do want to build leadership development from the, at least that's the purpose, discipleship and evangelization from those young people. Okay, so you do want to do that. Okay, do team building activities because it makes the group more strong and more cohesive. Okay, very important. Now, those building leadership or activities are to help the parish grow. Okay, let's say you have a liturgy team. Okay, as a group, you can actually let them understand the different topics or the different parts of the liturgy, and as you bring them in as a group, because think about it, liturgy is a group effort, it's a parish effort, it's a community effort. Okay, so you have a retreat dealing with the liturgy or dealing with your team that deals with that for that specific team. Those work perfectly. Okay, now energizers. Energizers are literally real short activities. When you see the young people, especially you have a 2 or 3 day retreat, they get tired. Or a very long day retreat. For example, the dinner retreats are usually from 9 in the morning to 9:30 at night. So energizers in the morning and in between are very important, especially after they eat lunch. Think about it. Okay, you need something to move them around. Or at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, they're getting tired. There's certain times of the day that you can see. You have to know the retreat because you have to have those in your back pocket, literally. Okay, saying, okay, we need to change this around. Okay, especially if let's say you have a speaker that went beyond their time limit. They didn't take the talk skills training, and you gave them 50 minutes, and they took 45 minutes, and they were not too exciting. Okay, the young people were falling asleep. Okay. And you know what I'm talking about, okay? Sometimes you get super smart people to talk to the teens, and they just go on and on and on like I do sometimes, okay? They're fun and fast, okay? And that's to motivate them and to bring them back forward. Sometimes, if you're doing the third or fourth talk at those times after lunch, sometimes as a speaker, as a presenter, you better have an energizer in your back pocket because they're falling asleep. I mean, they just had a great meal, It was more than pizza. It was a whole feast. And some parishes do feast when it comes to lunch. Okay, it's not just like pizza and a Coke and, and potato chips. And it's only one pizza, or 1.5 pizza, it's like as much as you want or whatever. They had a humongous feast. So now their body is sluggish. And those energizers are geared for that, okay? Just real quick, to get the brain going, as simple as this. I know people that do this energizer real quick, okay? Let's all stand up. And like the team's like, oh, okay, let's stand up. Raise your hands up to the Lord. They raise their hands to the Lord. They'll bring them back down. All right, let's thank the Lord. Let's say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, sit down. Well, that brought them back up. Very simple, right? But it works, okay? Now, all these are very important, but know where to put them in the retreat. If you have a schedule, some of these icebreakers or group building or energizers are part of the retreat. Well, not so much energizers, but they're part of the retreat. But others should be in your back pocket. The speaker should have some in the back pocket. Or the retreat master should have them in the back pocket. Okay? After the speaker speaks, and they're literally dying, it's like, okay, let's do an energizer. It's not part of the retreat, but let's do something to bring them back up. Okay? And again, they can be fun or educational. Usually the educational parts are already part of the retreat. And some just are part of it. The fun ones, no, they're just extras. Okay? Sometimes you can have some of these after the lunch. Okay? But it depends how you feel about the flow of the retreat. That's why planning it is very important. Thank you.